Marcello Mastroianni.
The famous actor, whose full name was Vincenzo Domenico Mastroianni, was born in Fontana Liri, Frosinone, on September 26, 1924. In 1933, Marcello, with his parents and his brother Ruggero, moved to Rome and went to live near Cinecittà, where he had the opportunity to get closer to the world of cinema that already fascinated him and which would give him so much success. While still a child, in fact, the possibility of even appearing in some of the films of the great Sica, who was a recognized master in the 1930s. Later, after graduating from high school, he simultaneously worked as a designer for the municipality of Rome and enrolled in the Faculty of Economics and Commerce. Before the age of 20, he appears as an extra in some important films: The Iron Crown 1941, The Children Watch Us 1942, but more than that, the actor dreams of being an architect. However, he was not driven by passion, but little by little, as he gradually acquired ease and became familiar with the texts and the stage, his interest and ambition to become an actor emerged. Soon Marcello would also introduce his brother Ruggero to the world of cinema, who, following in the wake of his family's genius, he would become a highly skilled film editor, sought after by major directors, and would win important awards. Immediately after the end of the war, he joined the CAT University Theater Center. Having joined the groups of the University Theater Center, he was noticed by none other than Luchino Visconti, who called him with him to interpret important roles, recently conceived theatrical works such as A Tram Named Desire and Death of a Salesman, or more classic like The Innkeeper and The Three Sisters. At the same time, he still works in the cinema, where he is always called to make some appearances which over time begin to become conspicuous. The film that reveals this is Girls from the Spanish Steps, where he plays the part of the nice and extroverted young man shot by Luciano Emer in 1952, a director who had already directed Mastroianni 2 years earlier Every Sunday in August. Already in those first tests, Mastroianni revealed himself to be particularly suited to the delicate introspection of a cinema that was halfway between neo-realism and Italian comedy. This predisposition of his was confirmed in the Days of Love and DeSantis, where the actor was able to relive his Sciotian origins in a slightly comical key. The main characteristics of the actor Mastroianni were emerging, namely that of embodying the figure of a good and subtly mischievous man, reckless but with a sweet and slightly melancholic judgment. Subsequently, his stylistic code was almost always based on this golden model, even when, as in the films of Blasetti or Lazzani, he was offered dramatic parts. Those characteristics were then combined in some films as a contrast to the feminine malice of the young Sophia Loren, which gave rise in the mid-1950s to films such as It's a Sin That She's a Scoundrel, He's Lucky to Be a Woman. But the turning point in his career came with La Dolce Vita in 1960, an epical period film in which Mastroianni was a modern anti-hero, and which also marked the beginning of a long and successful artistic partnership with Federico Fellini. With Fellini, he also provided memorable results in 8:30 in 1963, playing the role of a sort of alter ego of the Rimini director. Later, in the early 1960s, he achieved a personal triumph in the Italian-style divorce of his companions. He teamed up with Sophia Loren in various De Sica films and appeared in several Ferreri films, including La Grande Abbaffata, Ciao Male, La Storia di Pira. He worked with Petri from The Murderer with Scola from Drama of Jealousy, Splendor, which is now Through a Particular Day, which was one of the best tests of him. The continuation of his career has been a succession of successes alongside the greatest directors in recent years. We remember his interpretation in a film of civil commitment as Pereira claims, and the editing of his personal memories to become posthumous in the film document The Memory. Yes, I remember. A protagonist of great versatility and undisputed skill, it has been said that in certain films he seemed to be able to work only with the expression of his gaze. He conveyed the image of a cultured and sensitive man, alien to positivism, who looked with annoyance at the publicity of his private life by the tabloid press. He has represented Italian cinematography on an international level with great generosity, but unfortunately he has never received a well-deserved Oscar. Mastroianni died on December 19, 1996 in his home in Paris. The director Dino Risi, who also knew him well having directed him, said of him that he was the most beautiful soul of our cinema, the average and clean Italian. Mastroianni was perhaps the most pleasant to work with, and this was for a very simple reason. He never bothered me. I've never heard him say this, so it doesn't work.
Marcello, come here!
He had great flexibility and availability. He didn't speak. He simply acted as an actor, taking on the role of the character with extraordinary ability. Mastroianni had the virtue of liking even the films he didn't like.
Non possiamo, Augu, non possiamo.